Welcome to the Change of Plans
Yes, sir.
podcast.
We are back. We are back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got stood up last week for the election.
Oh, my God. Yeah. You know, it's funny.
Are we live, by the way, Joe?
Yeah, we're live.
I'm going to make sure.
We live.
All right.
Yeah. Last Tuesday night, Vin came here. Vin came to the studio. And I had been asked to do election coverage at the radio station. And initially I said no until I negotiated a fee. And then I forgot. Because in my mind, Vin, it wasn't you know, we were like, oh, we'll do it on Tuesday. But we didn't say like, oh, we'll do it on election day. And so election day and Tuesday, in my mind, I don't think we're like on the same page.
I know, but you're like the worst because I end up sitting on the step. You don't answer your phone. Your doorbell don't ring. And I'm just sitting there. And I'm like, I'm trying to FaceTime.
I don't think my wife was here either. Nobody was home.
Yeah, there was nobody. I was knocking on the door. Your dog don't bark. Cats aren't meowing.
I think the cats were out too.
Yeah, so, well, cat's out of the bag. That was a fun Tuesday for you.
Yeah.
You must have been pretty pretty excited, dude.
Listen, the country has spoken.
I was told the very next day that it was a live or die situation. And now we get to live because Trump is our president.
Well, that's good.
So I was pretty excited. We're all living. Like, it's a week. We've survived the news. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Let me ask you this. Nope. As a lawyer, what were your thoughts on Matt Gaetz, the congressman?
I thought it was a brilliant move. Because Trump goes to appoint him, he leaves the House, and then he thinks, well, now that he's not part of Congress, they can't release the report. But they just shoved it up as you know what and was like, hey, P.S., when you're trying to go through your appointment, we want to see the report. So now this guy's going to jail.
That would be a rough confirmation hearing.
Yeah, no. So that's why he did it, because he figured if he left, the House they didn't have the jurisdiction to release the report. But the Senate gets to investigate all the appointees, and they're like, no, we need to see that report as part of our investigation. So it was a almost well thought out play by Trump and that weirdo Munster-looking Eddie Munster weirdo looking dude.
He's been under investigation for a while for traveling with people
that are younger,
underage.
Yes. I saw my favorite was they replayed one of his interviews about abortion clinics, and he just said that it's just fat, ugly people that show up at abortion clinics. And yet this is the guy. But don't worry, everyone. I know the people who are watching Fox News are pretty upset that their favorite host is now going to be the Secretary of Defense.
What have you heard about Herschel Walker and Education Secretary? I
haven't, but I haven't heard that one yet. But that would be priceless. Like, I don't want to make this a political show, but it is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. But I will say that people have spoken. It's probably the people we didn't want to speak. But it's fine. Listen, I'm good with it. I woke up on a Wednesday. The next day, my life didn't change at all, and I go to work.
That's the white male privilege.
It is. I'm 45 white, and I make okay money. I'm what they call bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be.
This is actually good for us.
Yes,
like being honest.
I mean, here's my problem. As a lawyer, I like when people open doors to their brain, right? Like, if I know I'm gonna be in that space, I'm paying rent. So I'm at the gym. Dude comes in. He's like 5'1", Trump shirt, Trump hat, and I'm like, and does the Conor McGregor Trump walk. Like, that's what they do, right? The chest
I
up.
love that.
And so I don't really say much, but he's just waiting for someone to say something. So I oblige. And then it's just facts. And then it's just fact checking everybody, right? So he's like, they're going to deport all the illegals. And I'm like, well, they just don't get put on a bus. You have to make the arrest. They have to be incarcerated. You got to go through the deportation process. And then these people leave our country. So you need about 200,000 more federal agents. If you have 13 million illegal immigrants, you have to incarcerate 13 million people. And the inmate population in the United States right now is 1.9 million. Do that math.
Well, the joke's on you because it's probably more like 30 million illegals.
Yeah. So
round them up.
I mean, you're looking, I think they estimated the cost of $88 billion to do this mass, whatever. And I don't have a problem with people becoming, hey, make people go through the process. We discussed it before becoming citizens, but people just don't think things through. And that's what just the infuriating part about it was. So anyways, this guy's just yelling at me. Then it gets into, well, you think you're smarter than me because you're a lawyer. And I'm like, I might have my doctorate. I may have done a couple things. I may have specialized in tax law, but I'm not going to say I'm smarter than you, sir. And then inevitably the Trump supporters like, well, I was a black belt since I was 12. And I was like, well, you haven't grown since you were 12.
I was going to say, oh my God, you haven't moved up.
Yeah. So anyways, but it'll be exciting to see, dude. It is what it is. I'm not mad about it anymore. Like I said, I feel bad for certain people, but me, I'm going to be good.
You actually reminded me of something that happened to me when I was 12 years old. I was taking Tang Sudo karate.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of karate?
Tang Sudo.
That's not real.
Yeah. What was it called?
I don't know.
Tang Sudo. I'm almost positive. It's like Korean, I think. It's some Korean, I'm telling you. Tang Sudo. I was a green belt. I was 12 years old, and they put me up against this black belt, and she was like 7.
No, that didn't end well. Yeah.
I got to tell you, we lined up to fight, and I was like, oh my God, this little girl, 7 years old, pigtails, is probably going to fuck me up. And they're like, fight. And I threw a front kick, and I hit her in the chest, and she immediately fell to the ground and was like convulsing.
Listen, I know where you're getting at here, and we're not going to do that at today's show. Okay? We're not going to do it at today's show. We're not going to do it, okay? She had an asthma attack. Yeah, so it's been a little bit. It was
a knockout.
It's been
I won the fight.
But I think it's going to be a good opportunity for people just to try to be better individually. That's what
is that where you see this going?
That's I mean, that's
good. See, at least the show turned into a comedy.
I can tell you I've made a conscious effort over the past week to really just be a better person. I think I had to pick a jury this week, and I had a client. I was 2 days of jury on a criminal case, sex assault, whatever, dude. Spaghetti-o, right? And I'm sitting with my client, who's alleged of all these nefarious things. Allegedly. And, when my client's like, well, that person's a weirdo, right? And I'm like, I would never go to trial if I got arrested. After seeing the talent pool that we are pulling from in society, and then you're asking these 6 people to say, hey, I'm going to save your life today.
It's scary. That's a scary thought.
It was the scariest thing I've ever. There was one person, I swear someone had to get a warrant to get in this dude's basement. There's zero shot he doesn't have kids trapped in a basement, or he's not a school shooter. He scared the bejesus out of me, and he was supposed to be helping make a decision on my client. But for the record, not to toot my own horn, client was facing 70 years, walked away with a suspended sentence of 5 years of probation and no registration on the sex offender list. So I've done my deed for America. That's a win. Gates, call me. But yeah, so it's been a weird time, but everything else is good, man. I gotta say, kid's back playing football. He's been out. He's been out for 5 weeks.
How's he feeling?
Feels good. He looks good. So they play Rockville tomorrow. That was the team that knocked him out last year. So little revenge tour. And yeah, just it was a busy week, but I'm here with you. This is fantastic. Feeling positive today. I really am.
I have been, and I feel really bad about, I really do feel bad about last Tuesday, but get this. Last Friday, I was supposed to interview Mark Normand, the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorites. Like since COVID, I watch a lot of comedy.
Yep.
And he almost every day, I think at some point I see this guy, and I was supposed to interview him, and he was going to call in at 3. And it was about 1:15, and I was sitting on my back deck. And I don't know if you remember, but last Friday was like a really beautiful day.
Yep.
And I'm sitting outside. I had just eaten a little lunch. I was like 45 minutes away from leaving. I had already done a bunch of prep work. Like, right,
You fell asleep,
dude. The sun hit, and it got in my eyes, and I closed my eyes for a minute, and I'm so tired. All I've been doing is working, and I closed my eyes, and you know what I thought in my brain? Like, it felt nice to have my eyes shut, and I went, just don't fall asleep.
How did that work out?
My wife was like, hey, I thought you had to be at the station at 3. It's 3:15. How come you haven't left yet?
But like, why did they do it then? You know, that's if you're gonna do it, just let me miss it completely.
I mean, right? Yeah, just let me. I could have missed the whole day.
Full Monty on that. That is that's the worst, man. And it catches up to you. And plus, you have like narcolepsy, dude. You fall asleep all the time.
If the opportunity, it happened again the other night. I was supposed to do a college football podcast. I know Obi's pissed at me. I wrote my script for it and everything, and God, it was about 7:15, and he was going to come on at 8, and I was just sitting here.
It just nodded out.
Everything was like done, and I'm like, oh, I'll just sit here and I'll wait till 8, and I just kind of put my head back, and I woke up at like 1:30.
Yeah, I'm like that. My wife gets mad. She'll be in a conversation with me on the couch, and it's lights out. Like it's like there's no like I'm fading in and out. I'm gone.
We've been watching a show on Netflix, Yellow Jackets. You ever heard of it?
Nope.
It's about this girls soccer team. Their plane crashes on their way to finals, like nationals, and they survive in the wilderness. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of funny, but I would say it takes us 2 nights to watch an episode.
Yeah,
because inevitably, about halfway, middle of any episode, she'll be like, "Are you falling asleep?" And I'm like, "No, I'm into this."
That is the most frustrating things. My wife does that all the time. Once she watches trash, it's just bad. I don't even know what the show is now, but it's just young people having sex. Like, what are you looking at?
Is that backwards or am I?
Yeah, no, it's backwards.
Is that for like a selfie?
No, I never thought about it like that, but it's just the brand Supreme. It's cool. They're so cool. They print their stuff backwards sometimes. It's Thrasher.
If you did a selfie, it would be frontward.
I never thought about that. I didn't notice it was backwards until you said something.
I just looked down and I was going to say, I think you got a misprint on that jacket. How much did you pay for that? Was going to be my next question.
I'm not gonna.
Then I was going to say you might want to get a refund.
I'm not.
But then I thought, oh my God, it's backwards. So if you're doing a selfie, then it's frontward. Is there frontward in there?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, see, this is a perfect jacket for a video podcast. But yeah, you know what it is with TV now too. There's too many choices. You know what I was listening to today? I was listening to Trevor Noah. He's one of my favorites.
You do like Trevor
I
Noah.
love me some Trev, right? So he had a good point. So, you know, now I remember when I was a kid, there was one TV and you just had to watch shit, right? Like,
yeah,
either you're just watching what your parents watch, or your parents are got to sit down and watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with you because there's one TV, right? But it was that quality time that your parents were kind of into something you were into. And now you don't have that, right? Like you got Netflix, Hulu, like all of this stuff. You don't have to watch just one show. And I think I never really thought about it like that. Like that you were having this quality family time, even though you were kind of all like around the TV, right? Like now it's garbage. I can't. And the worst part is about having a kid is having the kid on the couch listening to whatever show he's watching on his iPhone at full volume while I got an 80-inch and I'm just trying to watch some TV. And he's like, what? And I'm like, dude, can you put some AirPods in? Like what? Like why are you watching it on your phone? I got a big ass TV. I just can't. It's just TV now is too stressful. There's too many options.
I was talking to Michael Blackson, the African guy from Next Friday.
Yes. Funny dude.
Awesome dude. But you know what? He reminded me of this today, and it's so true. And this is something that only people of a certain age are. But there was a time where you would be watching TV and there were so limited choices that you would go through the choices and just turn off the TV and go do something else because there was nothing
There was
on.
nothing on. There was nothing.
That was real.
Yeah. No, now you spend all of your time trying to find a show.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to it, you fall asleep 20 minutes in because it took you an hour. Like, I can't. It just infuriates me. But yes, my wife watches trash. Like it's just like young people having sex all the time.
What
trash.
show is that?
I don't even know the name of it. But
is that something I have?
it's like every time I turn around, someone's humping. And I'm like, it's just great. It's just great. But yeah, other than that, everything is good, dude. Everything is just Jim Dandy. I got a dope Google review today.
About being a lawyer?
Yeah, so someone left an awesome Google review. And by awesome, I mean it's probably one of the most horrendous Google reviews ever. And I don't even think it was my client because I have no idea who this person is. But he basically said I had too big of an ego and I suck at life. Which got me thinking. Do I have a big ego? Don't answer that, Joe.
Whoa. Wait. Is that rhetorical or
no? But
are we putting this to the audience?
No.
How are we going to solve the problem?
No. So I was thinking about it today. Like that stuff doesn't bother me. I really don't care about my Google.
I don't think you have a big ego.
No, but
you have an ego.
Oh, definitely.
It's not big though.
But I think when people are like, "Oh, you're full of
large.
Yourself," it's large. But I don't think
it's not small.
It's like medium.
You know what?
Schmedium.
You know what?
Is it a schmedium?
I'll tell you what it is. It's proportional.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Right?
I like that. Yeah.
His ego is up to where it should be.
It should be. Well, here, this was getting to my point.
That's why you're a likable person.
This is what I was getting to my point with this. So I had heard something the other day and it kind of popped in my head. So, like, why is it so bad to be full of yourself? Right? Like, if you can't be full of yourself, then who are you going to be full for?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I say, if you can't buy your own bullshit, no one else is.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like a cocky, arrogant, full of yourself. But like, if you're not about yourself to be the best person you are, take care of yourself, or just be happy and just say, hey, you know what? I'm good. Like, I'm happy. Like, instead of doing this half-ass, like, I'm okay at stuff. Like, who else are you going to cheer for? So it's whoever left me that Google review about my ego and I'm full of myself. I am. But that was nice. It's always nice first thing in the morning.
I think it's nice somebody went out of their way.
Yeah. And they don't even put their real name. They put MC Drummer. So if anyone knows some weirdo who goes by MC Drummer, tell her to holler at me and give a full name. Because I'll give a Google review right back. Yes, the toothpick. So Nicole knows my toothpick sign. So I'm a big toothpick guy. So I tend to chew them in court when I don't like the person I'm talking to. So kind of everyone knows in court, if I'm talking to another attorney and my toothpick is just flying out of my mouth every which way, I don't like the attorney. Because there's nothing more disrespectful than talking to another person while chewing on a toothpick. So that's what I do. It's my jam.
I went to a Chinese food restaurant last night, and they had toothpicks in their front. And when the guy turned around, I grabbed one, and I wanted to use it. And I put it up to my tooth, and it fell, and it landed on the floor.
Did you pick it up?
And then the guy turned around, and I signed the form, and I took my food, and it's still on the floor.
Come on, Joe. Why, man? I do love toothpicks, though. I think once it's a missing part.
I was so excited for that toothpick.
You know, they have like flavored ones, like whiskey flavored, bourbon flavored. You know, you can buy a container for like $50 for some pieces of wood that are dipped in booze. It's a good time. That's how you know you're living that privileged life. First world problems.
Right?
You know?
Which flavored toothpick will I have?
But it's the little joys, Joe. You gotta take part in the little joys in life. And it makes me happy. My wife asked me, well, why do you do things like that? Why do you need that? Because it makes me happy. And that's it. It's about me being happy these days. 2024, 2025, new year, new me.
You know what? If you don't do it for yourself, no one's gonna. I'll tell you that.
It's your life. Go live it.
Did you pick this on purpose?
No.
What are some mistakes that your parents made in their relationship that you want to avoid?
Are we doing a 2-part episode?
Wow. Jesus Christ.
You go first.
Some mistakes that
go top 3.
Made.
We're gonna go top 3.
I'll tell you right now, the number one answer on the board was my alcoholic grandfather lived in our basement. And I remember my aunt had kicked him out because he was an alcoholic, and he tried to fist fight her husband. And they lived like 3 streets away from us. And so he moved into our house. And my mother was like, I could remember this. And I want to say it was 82. I was 7. But my mother said something like, if your father moves in here, I'm divorcing you. And they're still together, my parents.
Yeah.
But my grandfather lived with us for 16 years. Yeah. Never. I would never ever let an in-law live in the house under any circumstances.
So if your mom's out there in the street,
I'll visit her.
I always told my mom I'd take her to Green Acres.
Green Acres is nice.
Yeah, it's the place to be. Yes.
It's not bad.
That's a good one. I would you know what? Mine was going to be similar. So we lived for a good portion of my life on my grandparents had a multifamily. So they had the top, apartment. We had the bottom one. And my grandmother had 16 kids. So, they weren't all aged out of the house at the time. And on top of that, my grandmother liked the sauce. There was a good 35-year run. I never saw her sober. She just called me Vincent with a B.
Come on, Vincent.
She bet Vincent. But it was wild because it was just chaos. And my mom and dad really didn't get along. And of course, my grandmother would just be wilding out on the top of the steps on my mom. So I think, yes, that would be one thing I don't do is move in with other family. Like, I think you got to protect like your shit, right? Your happiness, your house. So definitely that. Two, one thing I wouldn't do that my parents did, or specifically my dad, um, I'd keep it in my pants. I think
Yeah.
that was a tough thing, I think, for me as a kid, because I knew what was going down. But I was able to separate it, which was weird as a kid, that, hey, that's my dad, whatever's going on with dad and mom, um, that's between them. But I think that's why I'm such a sucker for like relationships, like the idea of marriage and like settling down and that stuff. So it's probably something else. My wife's gonna be happy when she hears that on the podcast, that something that they partook in and that I'm not going to. That's two. What's your second?
My second is my parents went on a second honeymoon in 1983. Or no, 82. My brother was born in 83. I didn't see my parents show any sign of affection towards one another from 1982 until like 2012.
What happened in 2012?
They held hands.
Why?
I don't know.
They're like,
It's a weird thing. I was like, but
did it make you uncomfortable?
no, I thought it was cute. I'm like, oh my God, I can't remember the last time I saw you guys have physical contact. It's weird. My parents never hugged or kissed or sat together.
Yeah, but I think that's weird when you do it in front of your kid.
Oh, to
I don't
brush your arm against your wife's shoulder or give her a little peck when she goes. You wouldn't do that in front of your kids.
I think it's a little different because like my stepson,
I'm not saying like shove her up against a wall. You wow. What do you think? What did you think I was talking about?
Listen,
not like that.
Listen, I didn't know what was going on in your household, bro.
Little slappy ass.
No, my wife is not about that, dude. No, she had explained to me last week that she was listening to a podcast, and she told me to listen to the last 10 minutes of it because, my wife's 50, going through some things, right? I'm not going to air out her business, but she's 50, or not 50, but close to it, going through some things. And so this lady was explaining how men need to do the like casual touch. Like that is more important than the slap the ass, like, haha, I'm ready touch. And like, I don't even know what that means, right? Because like as a guy, like maybe like a female thinks, oh, it's just a casual touch. Oh, that's so nice and sweet. Like anytime I touch my wife, like it's like there's one motivation behind it.
Yeah.
I could give it like a little poke in the shoulder, and I'm like, well, that was a casual touch. She'll enjoy that. I'm like, did you like that? So I didn't know what this podcast lady was talking about, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna give it a shot. But it's not the way it worked, But yeah, my parents were not affectionate. They like to throw shit at each other, like break cabinet doors, and that was the jam. So probably the third thing, not break furniture in my house.
That's a good one.
Yeah, no. And I think have conversations, discussions. We've talked about that before. Heard a good quote today. It was, "Be tight with your values, loose with your ideas." Right. So
I like that.
Right. Like I thought that was kind of a cool thing where like you want to steadfast with your values and who you are as a person. But I don't think people are loose with their ideas, meaning they're open to have conversations. Maybe change them, maybe not, but have the conversation.
You could share your parents' problems in the comments if you want.
Yeah, feel free. Unless you guys all got great parents, and then keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear about it.
I'll give you my last one, too. I'll give you my third one. My mom. I hated my father when I was young because my mother would weaponize my father. If I did something wrong during the day, I misbehaved. My mother, we would like bury the hatchet, and I would think shit was cool, and there was no discipline from her. And then my dad would get home, and my mother would rat my ass out, and my father would beat the daylights out of me. And I held it against him, not her, oddly.
Did you know it was your mom narking you out, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
it was messed up. And then one or the other would comfort me after like I got the beating.
Oh, see, I feared my mom. Wasn't really scared of my dad. My dad hit me once in Blockbuster because I embarrassed him. Like, and it came out of nowhere. Like it was like a right hook to my temple, and I'm like, what happened? My mom, wild.
My dad was raised by a Portuguese boxer, and so
a dog or like a I definitely thought you were talking about a dog, but it was an actual. But I got it. My bad, dude. My bad.
My grandfather Manuel was a boxer and a Portuguese man.
That's such a good name, by the way.
A Portuguese boxer. That's great.
I thought. Listen, I thought.
That would be a loyal brand. Anywho, so my dad's father was a boxer, so I suspect that my father got the living shit kicked out of him, and that was just sort of how you raised your kid and kept him in line. And as a kid, I was, as you could imagine, an asshole. You know, I was one of those like kids that wanted the attention.
Yeah. We would have been
acted
best
out.
friends.
You know what I mean? I was that guy.
Would have been best friends.
If somebody challenged me to do something, god damn right I'm doing it.
I'm still doing that now.
I you know what? You're right. I too struggle.
I do. Like I can't say no. I can't.
Not bad. Thank you, Deb.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We that guy on my Google review will disagree with you, Deb. So just go to MPF Law and start blowing up my Google page.
I don't like that. You know what? People got to stop doing that stuff.
I've had people like who are on the other side of my cases, like family cases, like make fake accounts and just go wild. And I'm like, it is what it is. But you know, I've just never been that angry at somebody that I'm going to go on a Google review and just keyboard it.
Did I tell you about the dude that commented on my Halloween costume from high school?
No.
All right.
No, this is going to be a good one. What were you, by the way?
So I dressed as Jason Momoa. And my hair down and stuff. It was good.
This was high school?
No. The guy that commented on the picture, this was 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say, how did you dress like him? You went to high school in 85.
How nobody knew who that was.
Yeah.
All right. So I wear my Halloween costume. This was November 1st. This is like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So they post a picture from their station. They're like, hey, guess what he's supposed to be? And some people guessed it. I thought that was nice. A few people guessed Jack Black. I thought that was nice. And then this dude from high school, Jay.
What's his last name?
Clash.
Call them out.
I've seen this tool around. I think I saw him at the 20th reunion. Apparently, he's harboring some feelings or whatever. But he certainly didn't say anything that night. Anyway, he comments on the picture as to guessing what I'm dressed as. He wrote, a douche from back in the day until now.
Wow. Yo. Wow.
Now,
yes.
Listen.
Wow.
I'm a lot of things. I don't think I'm a douche. I don't think I'm a douche at all. I think I'm one of the least douchey people. Asshole, brash.
Yes.
Obnoxious.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
I'll give you that.
Douche?
No.
No. Fat fucking idiot with dirty nails. You wash your hands, dude. Idiot. You know, here's the thing.
That is
wild. What pissed me off? You're going to comment where I work. That's kind of fucked up if you think about it. You know, it's not like I go down behind the bus station and tell you how to do your job.
You know what I don't understand is like after you hit like that button that launches it, like do you sit back and be like, yeah, got him? It's just wild, man. The keyboard stuff. I don't
Oh,
understand.
also, you know what this is the funniest shit probably in the whole story. A lot of people reacted to it. There was some, the laughing
up,
emojis
yeah.
and all that shit. This guy put the grumpy face.
Who did? The guy who left the comment?
Jay Clash. What are you, a fucking 9-year-old girl, dude?
We should have him on the show. Like,
Arr!
that's what you could be for Halloween. You got a pretty good face for that, dude, next year. Are you still dressed up for Halloween?
I hadn't dressed up for Halloween in like a dozen years at least. We the radio station threw a Halloween party. I had to host it. So matter of fact, back-to-back nights I had to wear a costume.
That's another thing I wouldn't do that my parents did. Make your kid dress up like a Kraft macaroni and cheese box and just paste some macaroni on a bed sheet.
I think about some of the shittier costumes.
Yeah.
Things that my parents crafted together day of.
Yeah, Raisin Bran. I hated dressing up as a kid, though. Like, I hated it. I would just hang out and wait for kids to get the candy, then take it from them. It was way better. I was the actual douche, so feel free to comment on mine. But I've grown up since then, so I don't steal candy anymore. Sorry.
I think Jay's pissed because I kicked his ass our senior year. I think that's what it is. If we're being honest, because that was the only time we had a problem, and it was because he was running his mouth. And he had a cast. He had a cast on, and he had bopped a couple people on the head with his cast, and I saw him. And I was like, dude, bring that shit over here. I'll fucking rip that cast off your arm. And
you're a bully, dude.
No. He was bullying other people. And I suggested that if he brought it over to me, I was going to break his cast off. And as I recall, he walked over to me. He extended his arm. I grabbed him. I flipped you over the locker room bench. I remember hearing the crack of the cast as I slapped your shit around. Yeah. That's why you think I'm a douche. But
oh man,
you had it coming.
So my question is, my mom used to tell me, you don't start the fight, but you finish the fight. Right? So she was a big, if you come in the house and someone was picking on you and you didn't do shit, you're going to have a problem with me. Right? That's how my mom was.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get that now either. Right? You get these parents are like, turn the other cheek, like type stuff. But like, I think as a kid, I remember I used to come home and I got in a fight. I used to fight all the time, but I always made sure I didn't start it, but I'd finish it. Now I get word for kids because I'm like, you have these, like, my stepson's never been in a fight in his life and he's 17. Like, I think you need to be in a fight as a kid.
Yeah.
You need to know what is out there. And it's just all this gentle parenting, man. To have discussions.
Oh, dude, I gotta tell you, it's funny. I just sort of did the math recently, and I realized, you know who the problem is? It's us. It's us. This is kind of a douchey thing to do, but that's just how I drink.
What do you mean? We're the problem?
Yes. Generation X.
Yeah.
Which I'm a proud member of.
What age group is that? I always get confused.
That's people born from like 69 to like 82 or something like that.
Okay, so I'm with you. I'm a Gen X.
Yeah.
All right, I feel cooler now.
We are the ones who are like the helicopter parents that are up our kids' ass. And I don't understand that because we were the kids that, we just did our thing and but we don't let our kids do their thing. I mean, I do. My kids play we have like woods in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's thick woods. It's all fenced in too, though. So they would play Hunger Games and, but I don't see kids. A lot of kids don't go out and it's messed up.
Yeah.
It's us. It's not the boomers, those psychopaths that let us just run roughshod,
Yeah. I mean, the boomers are all wild. They've gone way, way out of control. I like that, Nicole. Yes. They better look worse than you.
I like
that.
that.
Was
That's
my mom's
funny.
thing. I remember I was living on Sigourney Street in Bristol, and we had this fat kid down the street named Aaron Hackenberg. Hopefully he's listening, and hopefully he's not bigger than me now. But he was a lot fatter than me back then. So I was out in the street, and I'm like, I'm going inside. I'm not dealing with fat boy today. So I get in, and my mom's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Aaron's outside. I'm not trying to fight." My mom drags my ass outside, and she's like, "Hey, fat boy, you want to fight my son?" And she made me fight fat boy Hackenberg. Oh, put him in the chat.
I do want everybody. I mean, at least if you don't want to write it into the chat, at least think about this.
Yeah.
Think about the shit your parents did that you absolutely realize now.
It was shitty. And don't repeat the cycle, right?
Well,
Like
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I really like. My point is, when I bring that stuff up, it's like I could see where the real problems and as an adult, I mean, I could look back on it and be like, oh,
yeah, and it's but it's crazy on like how many people have seen it and be like, oh my god, my parents did X, Y, and Z, and then you take a step back and you're doing the same shit, right?
Yeah.
Like your life can't be different if you're doing the same shit. So it's okay to reflect, and I think your parents would want you to learn from what they're doing, right? Like as well. Like they wouldn't want you to. I had a consultation last week with a daughter, her mom. So essentially, the daughter and mom found out dad was cheating, right? And I felt bad. Felt bad for the daughter. Felt bad for the mom. But mom's like, I'm not gonna leave him and all this stuff. And I'm like, but your daughter is sitting here. You have kids, and you need to be the example. Because if your daughter was in this situation, what are you telling your daughter? Right? And I think that is, I think that old mentality of stick it out for my kids, it can't be like that because inevitably your kid ends up in that same situation because that's what they grew up in. Unless they're able to sit there and take a step back and be like, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And so I think it's good for everyone to take a look and step back and say, and some of the good things your parents did, right? Like if they did some good things. I think my parents were great mother and father wise when I was growing up. It's just fucking husband and wife, they sucked. But
all right. This next question is interesting. Very interesting. And since you pulled it, I looked at it and I've been thinking a lot about it. This is a good one. What's the most hurtful thing someone has ever told you? What's the most hurtful thing someone has ever told you? I can think of one, and this is going to be interesting. I do a podcast. It's on a bit of a hiatus right now called Divide We Stand. I started it when Donald Trump ran for president because I could just see some shit was going down.
Well, we'll be back on soon.
And I had a guy on the show who was a little insane. He was very passionate, and on 2 occasions, basically just quit mid-show. And I allowed him to come back. And he said he wouldn't do it again, and then he did it again. And the next day, we went back and forth, and I thought, I can't let this go. I can't let this slide again. And I explained to him, I'm a registered Republican. Okay. That's what I'm at. I don't vote for a lot of Republicans, I'll be honest, because I don't recognize the values, and I don't believe that the liberals are trying to destroy America. That narrative makes zero sense. I would be more into the conspiracy theory about the replacement theory But why would they want to destroy it if they want to take over? That just doesn't make sense. Anyway, I am a very centrist person. I'm a social moderate. I am fiscally conservative. I think we waste a lot of money. A $35 trillion deficit is a terrible idea. I said to this guy, I was like, dude, you gotta like tap the brakes a little bit, man. We're just talking about politics. And he said to me, if you believe that, you're my enemy. And I told him to go see a fucking psychiatrist, and I blocked him. I even went into my email and prevented him from emailing me. I blocked him every which way but how. What a ridiculous thing to say. You're my enemy? Are you fucking insane? And that's there's some insane people in this country right now who I got to tell you, and as somebody who works at conservative radio, I can tell you for a fact, there's a reason Fox News got sued for like a gazillion fucking dollars. Most of the shit those people say, they you have to understand it's rhetoric. They don't really think that the Democrats are socialists and communists. They say it, they don't believe it. It's one of the reasons why they never say it to their faces. They only say it on TV and on the radio. They would never speak to their constituent. They wouldn't do it. It just doesn't work. It's all about getting people riled up. And it literally got this guy I was friends with to tell me that if that was my line of thinking, and it was, in fact, my line of thinking, that we were enemies.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me because you can't. We're so divided on everything. Like, you have to pick a side, and there has to be a right, and there has to be a wrong. And there can't be that, hey, we could just have the discussion and walk away. And yeah, like, I couldn't imagine, like, I don't think I've ever had a friend, like, I've had falling out with friends and stuff, but for a friend to say, hey, you're my enemy, that is wild. Right? Like, that is, but I think it's also telling of the times. Like, it doesn't shock me anymore because you can't have a conversation with it, especially like politics or anything social, without it turning back to, well, I was a black belt in karate since 12. Like, that's not where I'm trying to go with these conversations. And I think that's what's the infuriating part for me is because I mean, me and you, we talk for a living, like, right? And I find that the more, tight values, loose ideas, the more I'm able to have conversations, the more I'm learning. I might not agree with it, but the more I'm learning. So that stinks, dude. I think mine was probably, so when my ex-wife was telling me why we're getting a divorce and like what was wrong with me. And she told me I didn't evolve as a person.
Like, bitch, we can't just like part ways. Damn.
I mean, there was a laundry list of things, and a lot of them had to do with me not liking the beach.
It's a legitimate gripe.
But I think I was really, that one hit. Like, and I'm I'm not an emotional dude, like whatever. But I remember I went upstairs because I was staying in my guest bedroom, sharing the guest bathroom with her sister, which was dope. And just be like, I didn't evolve as a person. Now, this was a person I was with for 12 years. Like, so that sucked. But then I started thinking, well, maybe I didn't. Right? Like,
what she wanted you to think.
Yeah. So, but I think that hurt. Especially when you're with someone and they're like, you literally are just the same fucking dude. So that sucked. But then I think that also, for me, I took that and went and worked on myself. I was like, well, I'm going to show you how evolved I am now. Look at me. There's no one more evolved than this guy. But it's tough. I think it's tough to, I think the toughest part is not reacting to when people say shit like that. That's my biggest that's the thing I work on now is I tell people, like, I can't control what people are doing or saying to me, but I can control how I react. So, like, I try not to fly off the handle and be like, okay. Like, I had a guy today, a client of mine, and he's high and low all the time. Called him on the phone. He was a complete dickbag to me. And usually I would just flip the fuck out. Like, I would just had a long day, you're eating it. But I didn't. Hung up the phone. Dude texted me an hour ago. I was like, hey man, my bad. I was having a week. Didn't mean for me to be an asshole. Right. Like, and that wouldn't have happened if I would have reacted the way he was reacting. But for me, it's just like, okay, they feel some sort of way. Right. Like, it's not me not evolving. That's something that she was going through. And because the way she felt about something, she's just putting that on me. So that's what I try to take it now. I don't try to take it so personal. I mean, it's different with your friend. Like, I don't think she would have ever said, hey, you're my enemy. Like, that's super aggressive. But that, once again, you can't agree to disagree without it getting to that level. So we got.
Yeah, that's rough. When I left, my ex said, you were nothing before me. You'll be nothing without me. You watch what happens now.
Yeah. Well, I know Nicole, and she out here living her best life, got a great kid. And it's one of the things, it's what I call a success story. So every once in a while, like, I get someone like Nicole that I've worked with forever, makes you realize why you do it. And you don't always get to see the other side of it when I tell everyone you're going to get to a point where you're going to be good. And a lot of times I don't get to see them at that point because they've already moved on. But she has. So, and she's doing well and her kid's doing well. So, it's awesome when you get that stuff, but usually I'm on the other end of the stick where I just get the crap all day. So,
it's weird. I was thinking about this because I've never been broken up with, and I like you got divorced, but my ex-wife was a sociopath, and so she would just lie, so she would never be honest about anything, and I suppose didn't see any value in trying to take any cheap shots.
Yeah, she was just lying. So I mean, it can't really get any worse.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway. But yeah, I've never been broken up with. And so I've never experienced the horror I can only imagine of someone saying, like, I don't love you anymore, or you haven't evolved, or whatever bullshit. And like, I would think that would shatter you as a person.
It does. Like, it still hurts when I talk about it because
really?
Yeah, like I am.
I don't know. I'm saying I don't know.
I'm like,
I'm asking.
I am like a hopeless romantic. Like my stepson. Obviously, it's not my same gene pool, but he's the same way. When he's in, he is all in, and that's me. Like, I never been. Well, I'm gonna be that single guy. Like, I was always all in. And I've been broken up with. Like, and it's not fun because when you're all in, it's worth it because when it's good, but when it fucking goes sideways, dude, destroys you. Like I remember having that conversation, and I think the top 5 reasons, like, doing the Leno shit, was I don't like the beach. I always got to be the funny guy. I haven't evolved as a person. I think, like, I don't know, something about working, like, whatever it was. It was just the most superficial stuff, but it's just like, you don't got to tell me why, all the reasons, and then be nice about it. Be like, but I want to do this together. We're going to have this uncoupling, right? Like, there's no uncoupling, right? Like we were never friends. We're going to be friends. Like, no, like, you were my girlfriend, fiance, wife. But yeah, it sucks when you get rejected and shot down. I mean, I know me looking like a thoroughbred, you'd be surprised that people would say, man, I don't want to be with you. I mean, I think that was the real shock, because look at me.
Look at him.
Look at me. Yeah, that's one it's tough to bounce back from.
I almost feel like I've been deprived of the experience of someone breaking my heart. I can honestly, as we're sitting here, I can think of about 6 good burns that people have had on me in my lifetime where I'm like, okay, no, that was good. But I don't think anyone has ever said anything that is necessarily hurtful or the most hurtful. And to be honest, that guy was kind of a dick, so he wasn't even really my friend. I was just upset that I had given this person an opportunity and they would call me their enemy. That was about as bad as it's ever gotten, though.
Yeah, like I don't think like even in my other breakups, they weren't like fucking crazy breakups. The shit just didn't work out. But that and I'm like you, I'm pretty bulletproof. Like say what you want. I'm pretty good with myself. But that one stung a little bit. But yeah. But every once in a while you cross paths and it didn't work out. But now I'm back. I'm evolved.
Maybe 7 good burns ever.
Oh man.
Funny.
I was at a Sicko gas station and this kid was working there that like I went to school with, and I just immediately felt bad. Like, cause I would like, you want to talk about burns? I was such an asshole to this kid, and he's like, "Hey, Vin," and I'm like, "Hey, so and so," and I actually apologized to him. I couldn't believe I apologized. I'm
That's
not a big,
nice.
but like, and I didn't want to be like, but I could tell by the way he said my name. Like, it wasn't like, "Hey, by the way, like, I know I was a dick in school," and he would be like, "I don't remember that," because that would have sucked. But you get that, like, oh, this guy, I was definitely on his kill list.
Yeah, and you don't want to be there. Well, it's funny you bring that up. I almost wonder, and I hate to start this so late in the show, but this is probably like 10 years too late as a topic, to be honest, but finding people like your old high school girlfriend on Facebook and being like, you know what? I was such a terrible person. I would never do that. And here's why. I think that's fucking creepy.
Wait, like, no, you don't reach out, right? Like,
right?
That
would be weird.
Out. Yeah.
That would be a weird thing.
Dude, I had so...
But I know a few people where, like, they've done that and, like, they ended up, like, marrying the person. Didn't work out because they were psychos to get together like that. That would be weird to, like, hit up your old, like, hey, just want to let you, like, okay, creepo, what?
So me and my wife...
Also, I don't feel bad about anything I did.
Me and my wife were dating, and she's like, comes home, and she's like, hey, I got an email from one of my ex-boyfriends. So my wife was dating this guy. He ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. Right?
Nice.
But the crazy part was she was going to, like, break up with him. And then he calls like, hey, I'm at the hospital. She's like, all right, I'll come up. Like, she was like, it was already in the works. And then he gets diagnosed with, like, terminal cancer, basically. Right? So, and she tries to ride it out, but she ends up breaking up with the guy. And the guy flips out. You broke up with me because I had cancer. Like,
and then did he die?
Oh, well, let me get to that.
Oh, my God.
Not that I got to tell you this cool story about a guy dying, but it's actually kind of funny in a weird way. So anyways, so she's like, yo, he sent me an email apologizing about all the things he did to me. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really count. Right? Like, because the guy knows, like,
it's a deathbed confession.
Yeah, right. But she's like, do I respond? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So then we're on vacation, and one of my, like, Instagram friends that I follow, like, she posts, like, she had ended up marrying, I didn't know it was the same guy. Right. So they had met each other at, like, a cancer event. So they had got married. She posts, he passes away. So I'm like, hey, like, it's so sad. This girl's husband died. And I pull up the guy, and she's like, yo, that's the dude. I'm like, that's the guy. That's the email guy. So small world. That's what they say. Yeah. So I felt kind of bad about that one.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but how, like we're just on a vacation and then kind of ruined the moment for a little bit. But yeah, you don't just reach out randomly and start apologizing, because it's not even you're trying to make them feel better. You're just trying to do it for you. Like,
right.
Just don't be an asshole going for it. And if you run across them in a Walmart and they give you the stink eye, then maybe you say something. But like, hey, I get it. I was an asshole. You don't reach out on Facebook. Like, what does that look like?
I just keep walking.
Dude, you know how much time I would have to spend hunting people down? I was an asshat of a child. I don't know, you can't imagine that, but shout out to Joshua Flores. I'll do my confessional out here. If anyone knows Josh Flores out there, that was a rough year for you, buddy. My bad.
Neil Swanson. You had written 26 chapters of a fantasy novel, and as a real haha, I deleted your hard drive and the backup. Dick move. Totally dick move.
No, this kid was, I remember, so this is how crazy my mom was. My mom was crazy. So this kid would start fight. He was like this huge, like redheaded kid. Just start fights with me all the time. And every like other recess.
Fucking redheaded.
I'm fucking
kids,
throwing bows. And then one day I'm like walking out from the caf to recess, and I see my mom just storming across the playground. Like, I'm like, what is my mom doing here? And she just puts this kid up on the basketball pole. She's like, you touch my son again, I'm going to have him fucking kill you. And then it's like, Mrs. P, please come to the office. Poor Josh Flores. Then he got expelled.
Oh, my God.
Then he used to walk up the street with his mom, and everyone threw rocks at him. I didn't. But if you're out there, buddy, my bad.
One of the coolest things I've ever done in my life was in college. One more apology to Neil Swanson, who was a better person than me, really was. I did so many mean things to this guy, but
why?
We were I was going through a Goodfellas phase.
Like, what is that? Like, what is that?
I was aggressive. I watched Goodfellas every day, and I was a little aggressive. Okay. And this kid was a nerd. He was my best friend's roommate, and I used to pick on him. But he was mouthy, and we were in a hacky sack circle one time.
You're in a what?
Hacky sack circle.
What is that?
You know, you kick the little hacky sack?
No.
You don't know what a hacky sack is?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You guys know what hacky sack is. Anyway, we're kicking it's a little bag of like beans, and you kick it, and people kick it back and forth.
Was this in this country or like a third world country?
No, it
happens here.
Yeah, it was big in the 90s. It was a big 90s thing, kicking the old hacky sack around. Anyway, he said he actually had a decent burn in front of my buddies. Everybody laughed for a minute, and the hacky sack came flying over to me. And I kicked it straight up in the air, right in front of myself. And I just took my hand and I snatched that thing out of the air
and hit him in the eye.
Dude, he wore glasses. Boop! Dead square and just blood.
Man.
And he tried to come at me, tried to take a swing at me. And he took 3 good steps across the room. And then he collapsed to the floor. And he landed at my feet, and I grabbed a bottle of Right Guard, and I sprayed it in his face.
What is wrong with you? Apologize to this man.
I'm apologizing for doing that.
Yeah,
that's my
laughing.
point.
Like, you're laughing while you
I was laughing. I was laughing at your reaction to it.
Like, that is wild. First of all, it's wild that you were playing hacky sack or whatever it's called. Like, because
can I tell you the last part?
No.
After I sprayed him with the aerosol,
no.
I took out a lighter. I only burned his hair a little bit.
You know what? This is right up here with the conversations about your conquests. Right?
Anyway, I'm so sorry, Neil. I treated you very poorly.
Yeah, man, my bad.
I feel
call
better
me.
now.
This is horrible. Like, that is bad. Well, we're gonna end it on that note. We're gonna talk to Joe about his anger issues.
I feel terrible, Neil. If you're out there,
and for all of our one listeners that we have left, we got
this.
6, 7.
Come on,
let's all do a homework assignment this week. Let's see who does it. Let's all reach out to a rando that we need to apologize to.
Neil Swanson, I'm calling you, dude.
How about this? This is what I've been doing. I try to call one person a week I haven't talked to in a while. just to say hi. So
I like that.
Yeah, so don't call and apologize to someone who probably doesn't want to hear from you, but call someone who wants to hear from you. Let's do that.
I think that's a really good idea. Or just call a rando who doesn't want to hear from you and let us know how that goes.
FaceTime them, though. It's way better that way.
Yeah. And record that if you could.
Ridiculous. I got to give a quick shout out to Positive Rescue Division. Check out our website. I have a bunch of dogs that need homes. I need fosters like ASAP. I have a bunch of dogs that need to get moved. So if anyone's looking for a puppy, even a foster temporarily, come on, Joe. Hit us up and change a plan. CG, obviously. If you want some life coaching, you just want to shoot the shit, or maybe even come on our podcast, let us know. It'd be a good time. Yeah, he didn't pick up my phone, but he has time to watch our podcast.
Oh, that's not good.
Shout out to Jackson Ryan for making some hoodies for my friend. Appreciate that.
I love your jacket, by the way. That is very cool.
I didn't know it was backwards until now.
And then also, Jay Clash, go fuck yourself.
All right, everyone, don't be a dick. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.